My name is Ahmed. I was born in Pakistan. I now live in Australia. I am a Muslim, practicing Muslim, and I identify as a gay man. I knew from the very beginning that I was attracted to men, but in my head it was a thing of, oh, this is gonna pass over, and I will end up marrying a woman and having kids. So that's what I always believed in growing up. So this is just a phase. So I didn't really think much about it. And after I finished my high school, I went to US for my university, where the college culture, and there's always talk about girls and things like that. And in my head, I was like, oh, I'm a good Muslim boy. I'm going to wait for marriage anyway, so I really don't worry about that. But something happened during those years where, I'm talking about I'm going to marry a girl, I'm going to wait for marriage and everything, but I'm not interested in any girls to begin with. So how is that going to work out? And that was the time when I started exploring sexuality just online, of like what it means to be gay. Now, this is the late 2000s, so the amount of resources available was very limited. I was researching on the site about sexuality, and the questions start coming up about where do I sit within my faith? If I'm someone who's not going to marry a woman and have kids, what's my responsibility in this world? And in my research, I kind of found out that there isn't really much about sexuality in Quran. And if there's nothing about sexuality, that does not make it wrong. It looks like a topic that people don't really, or God didn't really care much about to put that in the book. And also, the other thing that I looked into was gender identity. I'm a man, I identify as a man, but the fact that the religion also does not talk about diverse gender people also added the point, there is diverse gender, we know they exist, and just because religion does not talk about it does not mean they don't exist. It's just, it would probably should mean that that's not a concern for religion to begin with. So if I take that explanation for diverse genders, then I can apply that for sexuality as well. So those kind of questions was where I was like, I think it's okay for who I am in my sexuality, and that's perfectly fine. I can still be a good Muslim and do my other duties as a Muslim, and I should be fine. I as a person of faith, and as a gay person, I felt like I belong because of my identities, and nobody else has a right to tell me if I belong there, if I don't belong there. So I did not take any form of, or I did not consider any form of rejection as a way, oh, they rejected me because of who I am. I will also want to acknowledge that there are people who face discrimination because of their faith. Just because I personally haven't really faced in a bad way, in a big way to affect my life, does not mean that's not out there. One of the great things that happened when I moved to Australia was I found this organization called Sydney Queer Muslims. One of the first few calls we got were all about, my parents have kicked me out, we're facing domestic abuse, my family's going to kill me if I come out, what can I do? And as people who were not in the social work or psychology area, we looked at each other and go like, this is not what we know any experience. So we have to reconsider what we're doing. And so that's when we start getting in touch with organizations outside of ours, the social workers, the psychologists, and even police and domestic violence services, to figure out who can help us when somebody comes to us, who we can refer people to. And in our journey, we also wanted someone who can give us the religious advice. So we invited Imam Mohsin to come over and do a retreat for us in Sydney. And when he came and he talked about homosexuality in Islam, one of the things that was like a light bulb moment for me is that he drew the same conclusions that I drew when I was at my home and by myself on internet searching. So it kind of like made me feel stronger in my belief of I'm on the right path, and I'm doing the right thing. And it's not only me who thinks that, it's someone who has spent years looking into it and also came to the same conclusion. And so that just made me more feel like I belong in this religion. I am who I am, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I can live a happy life and also not worry about the afterlife. Let's just start with the very basic, right? When we start Quran, we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And we call God the most merciful, the most forgiving. And we repeat that before we do anything in our life, right? It's like constantly saying who God is, the most merciful, the most forgiving. But just the repetition of how God is forgiving and He's the most just is someone that like makes me affirm that He will see my struggles and He will see what I'm going through, and He will understand the conclusions I came up with were with the best intentions. And if I have made mistakes, He is the most forgiving and He will forgive me. And you can go through the other stories as well, and there are so many stories and where it just affirms that God really care about just causes and care about fairness, and the messages of Quran is very open-ended. Like if you do good will happen to you. I think when it comes to sexuality, if it's something that does not concern you, you overlook it and you don't think twice about it. And so when you look at one verse of Quran and it sounds to you like it's saying homosexuality is wrong, and you're not homosexual, so you go, well, okay, this is wrong, it's wrong, I don't need to think twice about this. And that's the issue, that they don't have to think twice about it. Whereas as a queer person, that is something we constantly think about all the time. It's the concern is that they haven't thought about it, and when we come to them and we ask them to think about it, they say, well, there's that one verse, and let's go with that. Like, why do we need to think more about it? And we're like, well, there's nuance, and that's the conversation that we're trying to have with them, is with our families as well. You don't want to see your kid go to hell, so then let's think about it, that how we belong to this religion and how can we live our life and still be with you at the end in paradise. It's interesting to see the resources out there has increased. Positive resources have increased for queer people. So if they want to go online, they want to look for support, the support is out there. The issue is, so it has the negative voices have increased. It was the idea of either I can be gay or I can be Muslim. But once I've reconciled that I can be both, I think anything that came my way that said you can't be, I had the material to go like, no, you're wrong. This is why you're wrong. And this is why I belong in those spaces. And that's not only to do with the religious spaces that I can go like, no, I belong here because I'm a Muslim. But even in queer spaces, I can say, yes, I belong here. Yes, I'm from a faith that you think is against homosexuals, but I don't believe that. And because I am a queer person, I belong here with you. It's really about empowering everyone to be able to stand in their skin and with the choices that they have made, and be comfortable with that, and be proud of it as well. There's a community out there for you. You're not alone. There are a lot of people who went through the same experience. So you don't have to do this alone if you're afraid. If you want to do it alone, there are resources out there. Look into it. But if there are any questions, reach out. I would dream to have no more homophobia and a complete acceptance. If that can't happen, then I will appreciate at least tolerance. I think the Muslim community needs to understand that they can't stop anyone from practicing religion. In fact, it's a sin to stop someone from practicing religion. So while you don't agree with sexuality, that does not stop. That does not give you a right to stop them from practicing other parts of religion, which are more important, like praying 5 times a day, fasting during Ramadan, giving zakat, performing Hajj. So, and believing in one God. As I have seen more and more progress, I've also seen things in places where people have went backwards. So I feel like it's gonna be a constant struggle back and forth. We may not get the mainstream acceptance that we're looking for, but we definitely can get communities of acceptance and safe spaces as well. So that's what I'm hoping for at the very near future, is having a lot of safe, secure spaces where people can be who they are, practice the religion they want, and not feel being judged by humans.